Let's meet someone who left corporate and went on to build one of the world's fastest growing travel brands. I'm Kate Say. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In this interview, I speak with Adam Schwab, a former corporate lawyer turned entrepreneur and the co-founder of Luxury Escapes, one of the world's fastest growing travel platforms. We explore his journey from law to launching a billion-dollar business, the challenges he's faced, the proudest achievements, and the legacy he hopes to leave behind. Now, that's no small feat. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks for having me.
So you've got a bit of an injury. Tell us about it.
I have an unfortunate broken leg. It is hopefully healing,
Yes.
but it's a bit of a process. So it's a sort of a year to get back to normality, but I'm hoping running in 6 months.
So you've done many marathons, but 2 barefoot marathons.
Yeah, I only run barefoot. So
Only barefoot.
yeah, so now these days mostly do half marathons, but unfortunately not this year. Or maybe I'll sneak in for the October one. But
Wow.
but yeah, so I've stopped wearing shoes about 15 years ago, or 14 years ago. My wife, as in when I run, I'm wearing shoes now. My wife was the first. We both were born to run, and then she said, "Oh, we should try this barefoot minimalist running stuff." And she lasted not that long with the barefoot and went back to normal shoed running. And then I just stuck with it, and it's been injury free from running for since then. This has nothing to do with running. Yeah, completely different injury. I was in boots, and actually, in fact, funnily enough, I broke the leg just above the boot line, which is pretty common. But yeah, so I've been lucky enough not to have a running injury since I went barefoot. So it's been good.
Yeah, so good. Now, take us back to your growing up, your childhood, and obviously you're very, very entrepreneurial. Where do you think that stemmed from?
I don't. My dad's a builder, so builders inherently, when you're sort of running a building business, they're all entrepreneurs essentially. Yes. They're actually pretty hardcore. You sort of got subcontractors under you. You're taking risk on every job, and if you misprice a job, then suddenly and we've seen a lot of builders in the last couple of years go under for that very reason. They sort of priced a job, trades went up, and they went on. So my dad's very entrepreneurial. Mum is super good operationally. They actually had a cafe together when building during the recession in '91. Building was struggling, and they opened a cafe in Williamstown, and quite foresighted in that. Like now, there's like 50 cafes there. And they were the second. So they made a good team actually. Mum operationally good. Dad sort of had the vision to do it, and they were able to sort of survive the recession when there's no building happening. We were at private school, that kind of stuff. So. That was.
And through a cafe, they could put you through private school.
Yeah, private school was a bit cheaper back then. I think I had a scholarship or whatever, so it was a little bit easier. But still, it was a big commitment. And they did really well given the sort of building at the time. And then obviously, I went back to building a couple of years later and did well. But so otherwise, I had a pretty sort of normal childhood in that sense. But I was always.
As well?
Yeah, relatively. I'm not an incredible at any sport. I'm sort of pretty good at most sports, but not great at anything, if that makes sense. So always finish sort of top 10% in every run, but I'm never going to win it.
Yes,
so it's
same. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, do it because you love it.
Yeah.
Not because you're looking to, win the trophy.
Yeah, I'm not going to win the Melbourne Marathon, but if I can usually finish top 10% or whatever, I'm usually pretty happy. That's kind of what I'm at most sports. Not brilliant at anything, but not bad at anything. So kind of in the middle, or middle of people who do it a bit. I had a few businesses, like when I was in primary school, I'd buying lollies. My bus stop was in front of a milk bar, and I'd buy lollies, and not obviously a bit unhealthy in your business, but
I did the same. I sold lollies.
Oh, did you?
Well.
There
so
we go.
A little sign, $2 a bag.
Totally.
$2 a kilo, I think they were.
Yeah, it was cheaper back then. But I certainly, I remember I had extra lollies, and people wanted them, and I said, okay, well, this is what I pay for them. You can pay that plus 10% or whatever it was.
I got mine off the back of the truck. So
oh, really?
A little bit more honest. Yeah.
Yours was a bit smarter. It sounded a little margin. That was my very first thing. Then in year 12, after year 12, me and Jeremy, who we founded all sort of businesses together, my best mate from school, we started a business selling our, they were called cats back then. So basically the assignments you did in year 12.
I remember the cats. Yeah. We must be similar age.
So they don't exist anymore, the cat things, but we sold out, we put them on a CD-ROM, which was cutting edge technology back in 1998, and sold them at a careers fair and made a few grand from that, which again was a lot of money back then for a couple of 18-year-olds. And then I did the same thing with my law notes at law school. So I sold law notes through the law bookseller. So I had a few sort of businesses through. None of them were like you're never going to retire on them.
Yeah.
But they're all sort of good fun, and we sort of just did it because we saw a problem.
And high risk innovative too, like getting all of that information and being able to sell it, like that, even that in itself is out of most people's comfort zone.
It probably wasn't much risk, but it was probably more, the law one was a bit risk because the dean eventually said anybody who buys or sells these I'm going to expel. So there's a little bit of what we call regulatory risk with that one.
Or reputation.
A little bit of that as well. But at one point, like 10% of students at law were using my notes, which is pretty bizarre. I wasn't I was an okay law student, but I wasn't the smartest student by any stretch. So that was I found pretty amusing. But yeah, it's always had little side. They weren't called side hustles then, but these sort of hustles that we were doing, and they were always on the side of uni or side of whatever. So yeah, we always did stuff, but we didn't start our first business till we were a bit older. But we always had stuff on the side.
What were you using? Were you investing, or what were you earning the money for? Was it lifestyle then, or like what was?
I think I chucked the money. I reckon I just chucked the money in the bank.
Yeah,
and not like again. It wouldn't have been. I think when we eventually started our first backpacker apartment business in 2004, I think me and Jess both had around 70 grand each, sort of saved up. Again, 70 grand, this is 20 years ago. If you look at the 70 grand then, it's probably like 200 grand now. And that was when we just saved up from this kind of stuff. Or obviously we were funding what we did generally, but it was a combination of that stuff. And then obviously I worked as a lawyer for a couple of years, so that was the bulk of it. And we were still at home then, so 23, 24 still at home. So we were just saving all the money, and then we just parlayed that into our first business.
So all that money. So you took that risk straight up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we look at all our business, we've had a number of businesses through the journey, and we sort of just went from one to the next one and just sort of kept letting it roll. But business isn't like going to a casino. Like you kind of know how a business is going before. You're not going to put your second dollar in unless you know your first dollar's sort of making sense. And what we call product market fit. So if you see you've got product market fit in a business, as in people are willing to pay you a margin after marketing, essentially the definition of product market fit, then we would sort of go harder and harder and harder. So we were always bootstrapped. We never raised capital. And even with Luxury Escapes, you only raised capital post-COVID, and it wasn't growth capital, it was sort of survival capital because we were starting to start paying our vendors. But till then, we'd never raised a cent of capital in any of our businesses. Everyone was bootstrapped.
And so what do you think the career, well, you didn't really stay in law, so to speak, as you studied, but that studying law, what value did that bring to even your first business?
So I was a lawyer for a couple of years. I was paralegal for years, and I was an actual lawyer for a couple of years. And then I took a leave of absence to start our first business, and just never went back. So I was a lawyer when I was 23.
Scary?
No, not really, because it was a leave of absence. I could have gone back.
Right. And what did your parents say? Just curious.
Dad was pretty supportive. Mum was, not that she was unsupportive, but I think she would have rather her son be the corporate lawyer at the big firm. I think most parents would. And this is back in 2004. Being an entrepreneur isn't like it is now. No. So it's very, like now being an entrepreneur, you'd be encouraged to do this kind of thing. You got Zuckerberg, you got Spiegel, you got Musk, you got all these people that made entrepreneurialism cool. Back in 2004, it was Bonds, Skase, Spalvins. Entrepreneur had a very different meaning. So there was a bit of that for sure. But fortunately, Jez, to his credit, was really great at sort of pushing us. He just didn't care what people thought. And that's been one of his great strengths. He'll just, you're never going to be a great entrepreneur or founder, as you know, unless you do things differently. Because otherwise, you've got an incumbent who's bigger and has a competitive moat of some sort. You can't penetrate that moat if you just do the same as them.
That's right.
You've got to be able to think differently, take a risk, counter position yourself. So we've sort of done that throughout. We've always been the challenger brand. Even now, we're still a challenger brand. We compete against Booking.com, a $200 billion business. So Flight's in a $25 billion turnover business. So we've always been the challenger. And we always consider ourselves, we're very much day one. We're always the battler who's up against, we're the Luke against the Darth Vader. And we'll always probably consider ourselves that, even no matter how big we get. I think we're always
it's a good mindset, because you've got to keep winning, don't you? You've got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I think it just pushes you to be the best you can be. We don't have the luxury of having a huge sort of brand moat or a huge scale moat that Booking.com has that allows you to make mistakes. We can't afford to make mistakes. Or when I say we make mistakes every day, we can't afford to make mistakes that can kill the business. Whereas a business like Booking.com isn't going to be killed by one or a series of mistakes. Like if we do things, and when I say mistakes, it's most likely mistakes of omission, as in we just don't do what we need to do. We're too lazy, we become too complacent, anything like that, and we're going to get killed.
Okay, take me back to the first step. So you guys have launched this first backpacker accommodation business. Tell me a little bit about how was you inspired to come up with that?
Yeah, so a friend of ours from Scotland was here and staying in this hovel of a place in St Kilda, and we saw it. Said, we can do better than this. Like this is before. Now people start a business. Here's a problem I want to solve. I'll solve that problem. Back in 2004, people didn't know what a problem-solving thing was. We just said, well, these people are paying a lot of rent for this really bad place. Why don't we do it better? And that was sort of how we started. We did one apartment that worked, did two apartments, then I took a leave of absence, did 3, 4, 5, and we got to 50. So it was, and we just cash flowed it. So they'd pay themselves, the apartment would pay itself back in 6 months. And we just keep plugging along. So it was a great, and we tore that out, and we then became a corporate apartments business. Backpack apartments have a bit of regulatory sort of haze around it. It's not as if we had we weren't slumlords. We weren't putting any more, it was like max 4 in a 2-bedroom apartment. So it was really nice for everyone, for the customers, for the landlords, got a great yield. It was actually not a great business for us because you bear the principal risk. We had the risk of occupancy transfer from the owner to us. So it was, it's not a really dumb business.
Did you have some bad some big learnings there?
We had a million big learnings. The whole thing was a 6-year learning, really. I don't do this stupid, unscalable business.
The most painful part?
There was nothing individual, probably just not making that much money out of it was probably the most painful part. And then we were working, we used to have an apartment, I'd be putting together the furniture, Jess is getting rid of the rubbish, I'm making the beds, we're it was hard work. It wasn't
Oh, I know. Putting the cutlery in the drawers.
Yeah, totally. There's a lot of cutlery I put out. But so we did that, and you think you do that, so we had 50 apartments, but then you have to change them and move them, and so we probably did that hundreds of times. So it was genuinely hard work, but it was great experience. We understood, how do you do customer service? How do you start doing marketing? How do you work with customers? So
you did everything from the ground up there?
Yeah, it was only there was effectively 3 of us, eventually later 4. So me, Jez, Rosie and Martine, so there's 4 of us in this business. It was doing a couple of $1 million in sales. So it wasn't a massive business, and it wasn't a hugely profitable business, but we made money out of it. We always wanted to just, can we make as much, or ideally more money than we make at a law firm when Jez was at a bank. So that was our yardstick. And we always sort of stayed just ahead of it. But that business the best that business did was we bought half a dozen properties and sold them because we didn't like debt. And we had $1 million of kind of windfall profit from that capital gain, essentially. And that was the most money we made out of that business.
Okay.
The actual operating profits were a couple $100,000 a year or whatever it was, but it wasn't huge. But the $1 million we made from buying and selling was that allowed us to then fund what became Luxury Escapes.
So how did you go from backpacker accommodation to e-commerce and that transition? Because the internet and everything, so 2004 you had it, but
we had a dumb website. So and the transition was 2009. So we'd had that business for 5 years, had this $1 million burning a hole in our pocket, and we wanted to do something more scalable. We knew we needed something more scalable, and we were just looking for ideas, and we saw this business called Groupon in the States, or Jez saw it. I saw a business called Top Table. We wanted to copy both. We actually did copy both. And we ended up selling the My Table business. I think you're going to have Gabby Leibovich on as a guest potentially. We sold it to him and Hezi, or his brother who bought it, but Gabby was obviously, they were always equal. So they did an amazing job with that business, sold it to Menulog, who sold it to a UK business for almost $1 billion. So we got a small carry as part of that, which was a really lucky result for us because they were the guys who did an incredible job.
But were you only traveling initially? You were doing other things as
well? We did everything. So we were originally an experiences business. Right. We also sold product, and then we obviously travel was always the best business. Yes. And we had a business called deals.com.au in 2010. That was our first.
And you bought that for a hell of a lot of money.
The domain name, $100,000.
Yes,
yeah, $100,000. Which is what we paid for Luxury Escapes as well. I feel like every domain name's over $100,000. Back then it was, even now it's a lot of money. So the Luxury Escapes I think was probably a good buy. Everything we bought some domain names $100,000 that we never used. That was pretty dumb. So we started this deals business. It was great at the start, but we realised pretty quick these businesses aren't the best businesses. The unit economics aren't that good. Yes. Short lifetime, high cost of acquisition, doesn't make a huge amount of sense. We did notice travel was the best part of it. So we kept focusing more and more on travel, and we spun out the brand Luxury Escapes because it was just a much better brand for hotels.
And other than it being deals.com.au, that was a spin out.
Yeah, and we still have deals.com.au. We still have Kudo. We still have Scoop On, which Gabby and Hezi started. So they basically mirror the Luxury Escapes where we can. They mirror Luxury Deals, but Luxury Escapes is by far 99% of the business. We just gradually grew the Lux brand separately, and there was real product market fit there. We spent the last sort of 5 years, how do we build competitive advantage? Not just brand, how do we build scale, how do we build quality resource, how do we build switching costs, how do we create a business that lasts 50 plus years, which is not that common these days.
That's an incredible mindset to actually think about that, because I think people probably don't look past 10 years. So
I think as you go from product market fit to competitive advantage, or trying to build both, and certainly so many people struggle to get product market fit, and you just can you make some money? You're not worried about who's going to sort of come at me, but as you've got product market fit, then we look at how do we build these moats, the Warren Buffett style moats. So how do how do we ensure that customers come to us over our competitors? So we think a lot of what we're doing in the business in the last 5 years is how do we sort of build those competitive advantages? And it's a slow, long process.
Your rewards program, I'm a member. That's incredible.
Absolutely.
The rewards, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the whole point of that is how do you build switching costs, which is one really critical form of competitive. So I think of the businesses that have great switching costs, the Oracles, the SAPs, the Xeros. It's really hard to move from Oracle to someone else. You're paying like $10 million. We're a consumer travel business, so we've got zero switching costs. So how do we build switching costs? We create, as you said, we create a loyalty program. So every great loyalty.
Because Booking.com, I'm thinking now, I was using their loyalty.
Their Genius program.
Using your loyalty.
Yeah, so they've done an incredible job. Qantas obviously does an amazing job with loyalty. You look at these great, Accor does a great job. You look at Marriott does a great job. You look at these great businesses and what they've done and what Booking tries to do and has done a really good job of is if you keep buying from us, we'll give you this Genius discount. And the more you buy, the bigger the discount. We've got a simple thing. So every time you buy from us, you get points. You can obviously use those points to buy, but you also get status credits. So the more status credits you earn, the more stuff you get. So you get free lounge access, free chauffeur transfers, free upgrades. So that's obviously a cost to us, but that's a cost that effectively is a marketing cost. So rather than you sort of searching on the internet, on Google, and I might go to Booking, I might go to Expedia, I might go to Luxury Escapes, you come straight back to us because you're getting all this stuff. Like if you can get a free upgrade with us, why would I look at Booking.com? So we're really trying to build some sort of switching cost there, which is really hard for a consumer business. But if you do it well, obviously there's a cost to it, but hopefully the return is higher than the cost.
So interesting, because you could just be throwing more money at Facebook ads or Google ads, or you could be looking on retention within and keeping the money within your business.
Absolutely. I'd much rather give you, a customer, a discount than pay Google and Facebook again to reacquire you. So, and we obviously always going to spend a lot through Meta and Google. So it's not as if we're going to stop advertising tomorrow.
But how has that changed over time too, do you think?
In terms of our online spend?
Yeah.
It's been pretty consistent, to be honest. This last year, we actually had a really big focus on what's called contribution margin this year, which essentially is revenue less COGS, less marketing spend. And
revenue, less COGS, less marketing spend. Okay.
Yeah, so that's basically looking at what's the marginal profit you're making off each. So obviously you've got employee costs, you've got rent costs, you've got tech costs. Either way, these are the costs that sort of vary. And we're really focused on in the last really 18 months, how do we build contribution margin? So we intentionally didn't grow marketing spend. In fact, our marketing spend shrunk slightly last year. Not massively, it's not like 5% last year, but we increased revenue 20%. So that was for us exactly the result. Like we could have grown 50% and lost money and whatever, spent a bunch of marketing, but we said, no, we want to be a profitable, like we always have been a profitable business because we've been bootstrapped, but we want to be a more profitable business and grow profitability. And we're willing to not take a hit on growth, but we're not going to sacrifice profitability or grow for the sake of growth like so many businesses have been doing. I think the market in general, investors and other market participants have realised that like a business is worth the future value of its cash flows. And you can grow all you want, but eventually you've got to start making money and delivering return to shareholders. And we've been around, again, like Luxury Escapes as a brand, 12 years, the business that 15 years. There's no excuse for a business to not be making money and delivering returns. Obviously, we had COVID in the middle.
Yeah, and I do want to understand what happened during COVID. And secondly, your hiatus from being CEO too. So
well, they both kind of correlate in a way. So 2019, I'll answer the second question first, just chronologically. So 2019, we were looking to actually sell, not the whole business, but potentially a majority of the business. And back in, you may have heard of founder mode, manager mode. Brian Chesky talked about it about 6 months ago. And now founder mode's very much in fashion. So everybody wants investors invest behind founders. There's a lot of alpha to be made investing behind a founder. We've seen the L1 capital guys make a fortune investing behind founders. And so founders are very much in fashion.
Yes.
Not just the Zuckerbergs and the Spiegels, but the Richard Whites, even the controversial founders still remain in fashion somehow. So we're very much in founder mode now.
Yes.
But in 2019, the market was much more manager mode. The market didn't love founders as much, and we were looking to sell to potentially private equity or strategic. And I think we all thought it makes more sense having a non-founder managing the business because it just that means private equity can come in. They're not relying on a founder. There's less risk, and it was a perfectly valid judgment then. Obviously, times change and managers come in and out of it. And in 5 years' time, we could be back to manager mode, even though we're in founder mode now. So we made that call. I stepped back, stayed involved in the business. I was in the office every day, to be honest. So I was still pretty heavily involved. Cam came in, managed it, did a great job. Was really great at sort of managing the EBITDA line and growing profitability.
Was Cam internal or external?
He came in, we hired him as COO, and then we promoted him. and he was doing a great job, but then obviously COVID happened,
Yes.
and it's just a different, like it was a different regime. It was kind of
Yes.
wartime happened, and it sort of made sense for me to come. Obviously, the whole process was put on hold, and I came back in. Cam got a great job elsewhere, and did a really good job there. So it kind of worked well for everyone. And I could come back, and we went back to sort of wartime mode, growth mode, and so I had an incredible experience not running the business, and I think it made me a much, well, I call it less bad CEO. Learned right. It's much easier to acknowledge your mistakes when somebody else is doing something either the same or different. So a lot of stuff I was doing just continued after I left. Actually, this is pretty dumb. Why were we doing that? Oh, I was doing that. So you can sort of see your own mistakes a lot more clearly. And you can see what you really need to focus on. And the first thing sort of did coming back was just how do we just create this incredible team? Got our CTO back from Luxembourg. He was at Amazon. He's now built an incredible tech team. And we just focus on bringing the best possible talent to the point where we've gone from pre-COVID, we were 220 people. Now we're 620. And the quality of our team, we always had some great people in the business. We were a great hustling bootstrap business who were sort of able to get some great people, but we didn't have the scale of great people that we have now. Now we've got just an incredible team. Our tech team is as good as any in the country. I think we're better than last year. I think we're as good as Canberra. 130 person tech team now. We're 25 pre-COVID. So it's a very different.
Onshore, offshore?
Mostly on. A little bit off, just to add bulk, but the vast majority is onshore. Or mostly based in our Sydney office, and a few in Melbourne, but probably 80 plus in Sydney. And they do an unbelievable job, especially for a travel business, which isn't a deep tech business. They do, we've got some unbelievable talent in engineering and product and design. It's really good. So we've really changed the business to be a talent-driven business now, not so much a deal-driven business. We've still got the best deals on earth, but that's obviously we do that, and we obviously get great talent who do get those deals, but we're really, especially a tech-driven, our talent, our assets go up and down the lift every night, as they say, and the guys and girls have done an amazing job. The platform's completely different. We're a big marketplace business now, not just what we call Flash. It's a very different business to pre-COVID. And just to your second question, we really leaned in. Everybody else, every travel business was firing a third of their staff, including the great travel businesses, the Airbnbs, the bookings. We didn't fire anyone as a result of COVID, and we actually grew the team during COVID. So we were pretty risk on. We knew COVID would end, and we knew that we wanted to be in a good position to take advantage of it, and we've sort of tripled our revenue. Actually, haven't quite, probably double and a half our revenue since COVID. Tripled our team.
And was it a holding pattern though during COVID?
It was a survival pattern. We knew we'd survive, but it was how do you just, and it was, you had these lockdowns, and then suddenly you have like 2,000 people call customer service. You don't have 2,000 people in customer service. So it was super hard super hard for our team, and but our customer service are always brilliant, and even more brilliant job during that period. We learned a lot as well. You learn a heap of resilience, and you also think like if we can get through COVID as a travel business, we're pretty confident we're not going to. So no one lasts forever. No business ever lasts forever. So can we get to 50 years? Can we get to 100 years? Which I'll be dead by then, obviously. But how does a business outlast us? And we've said that's what Hence said about building. How do we build competitive advantage, and how do we use that COVID period? And we were lucky we were private, so we didn't have to do a discounted capital raise like all the public listed guys had to do. So we were able to. We did a capital raise eventually after COVID, so we got a much higher valuation than we would have pre-COVID, ironically, and used that really to fill the balance sheet. And now we're back to sort of paying dividends, capital returns, or whatever we're doing now. So you always need a lot of luck. We were lucky that we were private. We're lucky we had an unbelievable team, and we could build that great team. We also rode the luck pretty hard.
The fact that you could see the way out, I think, is the key. Like you said, we always knew it was going to end. And I feel like the businesses that didn't survive couldn't see the end. So that's...
And pandemics follow pretty... Like this pandemic was worsened by some government stuff, but pandemics tend to last 2 years. Like if you look at all the previous ones, they kind of lasted the same amount of time. They always end. This one probably could have ended sooner, but ultimately they always end. So the notion that things are always going to be bad. It was just I always found that strange. And we were always pretty positive coming out. We were doing everything we can to encourage borders opening up. It's weird to think the borders weren't open at a period given now, but we'd been people were forced, all that kind of stuff. But it was a great opportunity for us. We were able to transition the business. A lot of our competitors were shutting stores, sacking people. We were growing. So we were super lucky in many ways. Like I look at COVID as this great blessing in the end. Like I'm sure it was a super annoying 3 years. But we came out much stronger, much more valuable, much smarter after all that. So like I think you've got to look at it as the opportunity it was, like as
Yes.
terrible as it was and how ridiculous it was still was an
Yes.
opportunity for us.
Yeah, no, I get it. Working in the business and really building it from the inside.
Totally.
And so what do you think that the biggest challenge has been in the history of Luxury Escapes? Is it COVID or is it something else?
Probably not. Yeah, COVID was its own challenge, but
Yeah.
for us, it's always been building that credibility and brand. So
Ah.
think if I'm buying a table on the internet,
Yeah.
if table doesn't come, it's not the end of the world. You get a chargeback, you get a refund, you buy another table.
Yeah.
Big deal. If you're buying travel, it's a much more risky purchase.
Ooh, yeah, I get
Firstly, like, is the company dodgy? Like, so, and we sell like in many cases a really discounted product. Everybody else is the same. So I go, well, these guys are selling discounted travel. How are these guys so much cheaper? It's got to be dodgy. So that was what people used to think about us. And the other risk with travel is you're not just buying, again, a table. You're going to Thailand or Bali or Maldives with your family.
Taking annual leave.
Yeah, taking annual
all the
leave.
things,
Well, you don't get
yeah.
like up there at 10 o'clock with 2 kids and suddenly the
Yes.
hotel's not what you thought you were buying. That would be catastrophic.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it very, very rarely happens.
Yeah,
But you need it, the customers really need to trust us. They're putting their faith in us. They're spending thousands of dollars potentially, or tens of thousands of dollars potentially. We can't let them down. And we very, very rarely let people down. Unless they went 100%. No one's 100%. But we're generally pretty good at if something is wrong, we'll jump in and fix it. We'll move it to a different hotel. We'll speak to GM, get it fixed.
Yes.
So we like to think we're 24/7 customer service, 365 days a year. So you can call Christmas Eve, we'll answer your phone call. So you compare us to a Main Street travel agent who, they're amazing Main Street travel agents, but there's only one of them. They can't work 24 hours a day. We've got a great team who can pick up, if it's 2 a.m, you might get our Barcelona team, but they're English speakers, or you'll get our Melbourne team otherwise. So we give this incredible service, incredible pricing, nobody can match. And if you look at the big OTAs like Booking and Expedia, they don't give any service.
Yes.
The travel agents give good service, but there's only one pair of hands. We're sort of the best of both worlds. We're a big team that give amazing service and this incredible product that nobody else has. So I think we sort of tick every box for our customers.
Yeah. So that hardest challenge, if it wasn't COVID?
Oh, so it's growing customer trust.
Okay,
It's getting
makes sense.
getting people to trust us to purchase their dreams and their happiness through us. We sell happiness essentially, and the last thing you want to do is sell sadness and get it wrong for people. So when something does go wrong, and it's more not the hotel's fault, not ours. Sometimes it's our fault, but most of the time the hotel's done something slightly wrong. We have to fix it. We have to get on the phone and fix it with the hotel and make sure the customer's okay. So, and our team is amazing at doing that.
Makes perfect sense. And now what about your proudest moment? So huge journey for you, and particularly going in and out and then back in.
Well, business-wise, we think sort of early in the journey. So it's never mission accomplished, George Bush style. Like we constantly want to get better. Every day I'm super proud of what our team does. We've got an unbelievable team. But in terms of like sort of, is there one thing in particular? There probably isn't. It's just, I love going to work, working with unbelievable people, and consider myself super lucky, and I'm super grateful that we've been able to, whether we can sell happiness every day. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. So it's certainly not job done. We just want to constantly get better. Our UK business is growing really well. We think we have a really significant business in the UK. Singapore's going really well. US is not far behind. Obviously, New Zealand's a great business for us. So we think we can export Luxury Escapes to the world. We think we've got a great model, and that our customers love it. We've got one of the highest NPSs in the travel industry globally. We just want to keep getting better and better, and we think we can. But nothing's easy.
Yeah. So what is next for Luxury Escapes? Is it global?
Yeah, we've been working on the global expansion for a few years now, and we don't have multi-language yet. That's hopefully in the next year or so. But we're just constantly working on how do we build these moats? How do we build more loyalty from our customers? How do we get better product? Yeah. We launched our first private jet Europe charter this week. It's incredible. Looks incredible. It's sort of 90% less cost than sort of the Abercrombie and the Four Seasons, which is amazing. Like those businesses are amazing businesses. We've been able to use our buying power and our scale to create just an experience that is almost incomparable. And the ones you do it, like if you want to buy a usually private jet to us, you have for sort of $500,000, where $60,000 for a couple. So which isn't $6,000 isn't cheap. Let's be clear, but compared to everybody else, it's unbelievable. So we want to keep creating these amazing lifetime experiences that people just remember.
Experiences as much as it is. It's not just travel. Like when you talk about Booking.com, I think people think more simplistically about a transaction. Whereas
you're booking a bed in a room at Booking, which is they're an amazing business. Where we sell the whole experience. So we can sell you your chauffeur-driven, if you're a member of our loyalty, you might get it for free, but your chauffeur-driven transfer, your lounge access, your flight,
We just hit our status.
Yeah,
we're
there
going
you
to Bali
go.
and we're
Perfect.
chauffeur-driven.
Perfect. So you get all that stuff. And you get, when you're in Bali, you get your food, your cooking class and your food tours and all that kind of stuff. And we've got a
voucher for your water sports.
Totally.
And your massage.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
So good. Bring it on cocktails.
Grand Hyatt, we've got a store in the Grand Hyatt Resort in Bali, so you can buy stuff from there and you get further discounts. So we want to sell the whole experience, not just we'll leave the bed in the room to Booking, who do a great job of that. And if you want to buy your whole experience, come to us, because we'll do it better than anyone. And if you need help, you can call us, which you can't for most other online businesses. So we want to be the complete experience. We want to be that travel agent that is sort of massively on steroids.
Do you know what? You've made me, here's a great story. My dad is 82. So mum and dad had their 70th and 80th. So they're born 2 days and 10 years apart. We found mum dead, and that's not the nice part of the story. And no known cause of death, all the horrible things. And people that have heard my story, I won't go into detail, but they had a holiday booked.
Yeah.
And it was with Luxury Escapes. And Dad called up because he couldn't travel without mum.
Yeah.
And got his money back.
Yeah.
And he never thought that anybody would honour that. And he's a raving fan with his 82-year-old friend. So there you go. And a really.
Well, it's not nice to hear, but it's also nice to hear. It's,
and I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it. I was like, I remember this. So
well, you look at that great story of customer service and the high watermark of customer service, the Chewy's, which is a US pets food business. Yes. Yeah. And the famous story, somebody, and this was posted on social, so a legitimate thing, and somebody called up saying, my dog's passed away. And they have subscription dog food, so they're halfway through. And Chewy, the person on the other end of the phone, without sort of having to escalate it, they said, "Oh, we're so sorry. We'll immediately cancel your subscription." That's pretty good. And then, like a week later, that person got home and there was a card saying, "We're so sorry to hear about your dog, and here's a bunch of flowers." So that's the service, like the best possible service. Yeah, and obviously we aspire to do that sort of thing. We're not quite there yet, but it's how do you we want to have lifetime relationships with our customers, and that's not always easy to do because there's so many other great businesses they can buy from. So it's we want to go the extra mile where we can, and we know we never get it right 100% of the time, but we want to try and get it right as often as we can. And we've got an incredible team, and customer service is a hard job because you're dealing with angry, upset people. Often people are great once you help them. So in fact, most people are great once you help them. You do get the odd sort of person who's beyond help, but most people are amazing. And our team's so patient, and especially our sort of escalation team. They deal with some customers who and usually it's the hotel that stuffs something up and we've had to come and fix it up, but they deal with some often angry customers. We had one just last week actually, and the guy, sometimes people find my email and will contact me, and which is totally fine. And I was going back and forth with him, and he ended up going to where he was going to. But he was really angry before the trip, and he came back and said, "Oh, your team were incredible. I don't know how they did it." And he was a reverse advocate. He was really angry at us. It turns out it was just a miscommunication, and it wasn't really anyone's fault. But in the end, we managed to sort of rectify.
Well, they do say they're the ones you get the most referrals from. So someone who has a good experience may not refer one or two people, but if they have a bad experience that you rectify, it's like 20 or something.
Yeah, so. And the bad ones you don't rectify also cause a problem. So it's there were some people who we just can't help, and if people are rude, we'll ban people from the site for life. So we're there's some people we don't want our staff to have to deal with as well.
That's
so
right.
General public, as you know, you do it public.
Good people, and they've got good judgment, and empowering them to make those decisions. Like we had one of our staff members, obviously BeFit Food, but people use it for life change, for their 50th or before a wedding or this or that. And this person was losing weight for a particular event, and one of the staff, unbeknownst to us, had sent them a happy 50th birthday card, just hoping they hit their goals. And they just raving fan.
Yeah, well, it's a classic example of great customer service, and no doubt that person's still a customer, and would have told 50 people.
And just so nice that they know that they can do that. Giving them that autonomy and power.
It's amazing, and that's we'd love our team to do that. Like some people are going to do it, and you're never going to get 100 people who are that good, but that's clearly the high watermark of customer service that we certainly aspire to.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your journey, and congratulations on the incredible business you're still building.
Thanks for having me.
It will outlast you by the sounds of it, because
Hopefully.
You've got incredible things in place to make sure that happens. So
thanks, Kate. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. This is Inspired CEO, and we'll be right back.